Welcome to today's episode, where we delve into the complex interplay between international law and space exploration. Today, we're examining a recent development that's been making headlines: how U.S. sanctions on China are now presenting unexpected challenges for NASA. Join us as we explore the far-reaching implications of these legal moves on space collaboration and technological advancement. China has made history by retrieving the first soil samples from the far side of the moon. What's more, countries around the globe are invited to share in this lunar bounty, every nation but the United States, that is. In other space news, a Chinese rocket met a fiery end, yet engineers are celebrating. We'll tell you why this explosion is actually good news. On Earth, Chinese scientists have shattered another record, setting a new benchmark for speed that's capturing global attention. Turning to international relations, Biden's recent legislation aimed at countering China has sparked unified pushback from American business leaders. Across the automotive industry, French carmaker Renault is steering away from the EU and aligning with China to accelerate into the future of electric vehicles. Meanwhile, the spiritual landscape is also shifting. Mainland China's churches have warmly welcomed a bishop appointed by Pope Francis, and over in Taiwan, the temples are buzzing with excitement over a major cultural revelation. CH-6 has made a historic touchdown on Chinese soil, marking the first ever successful retrieval of a soil sample from the far side of the moon. This milestone, announced on July 1 IST, opens up a thrilling chapter in lunar exploration. In an unprecedented move, China has invited researchers from around the world to study this extraterrestrial sample. However, NASA Administrator Bill Nelson's response was mixed. While encouraging U.S. scientists to apply for access, Nelson also mentioned he'd be consulting with legal experts to ensure compliance with the Wolf Amendment, a U.S. law that bars space collaboration between the United States and China. This law, which also restricts exports of certain space-related technologies to China, has been a point of contention and confusion, especially since it was enacted on the same day the Space Shuttle Endeavour embarked on its final journey, a mission that had significant contributions from Chinese scientists. The situation took a more disappointing turn for Chinese journalists, who had their NASA press passes revoked due to the new legal constraints, underscoring the complex web of international politics entangled with scientific achievements. Just under 24 hours ago, a curious development unfolded concerning the U.S. China's lunar endeavors. Despite the U.S. government's stringent efforts to prevent American scientists from accessing China's moon soil samples, it seems they are now keenly interested in enlisting China's help to safeguard their own lunar legacy. Li Hongbo, the deputy chief engineer of the China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation, shared that following the seamless progression of China's lunar exploration, a determined U.S. negotiation team approached Chinese experts. Their main agenda? Discussing strategies to preserve the historic artifacts left by humans on the moon, specifically the U.S. flag and the footprints from the Apollo 1969 moon landing. This shift in focus raises eyebrows, as Li noted in discussions with Chinese media. She pointed out that these concerns about lunar heritage and mineral rights never surfaced when the U.S. was the sole contender in moon landings. However, now that China has successfully made its mark on the moon, the U.S. has grown increasingly protective. In 2020, the U.S. even passed a law, the One Small Step to Protect Human Heritage in Space Act, that specifically aims to protect American landing sites on the moon. Interestingly, this legislation only covers a select few companies, sparking debates over its scope and fairness in the realm of international space exploration. In the vast expanse of outer space, defined by the United Nations Outer Space Treaty, no nation can claim sovereignty over celestial bodies through use, occupation, or any other means. This underscores the shared human quest for space exploration, a journey that's had its share of challenges and surprises. Take, for example, a recent incident on June 13 in China's Han province. During a routine ground test, a rocket unexpectedly ignited and soared into the sky, only to explode moments later. Thankfully, the Space Technology Association (STA) was quick to respond, remotely shutting down the engine in time to avert any injuries or fatalities. The incident occurred in a controlled environment, a deep pit flanked by rocky hills, designed to minimize any potential impact on nearby civilian areas. The rocket, owned by the private space company Space Pioneer, wasn't scheduled for launch. According to the engineers, the accidental liftoff was attributed to an unexpectedly powerful thrust from the engine remarkably exceeding its expected performance. This engine, part of China's largest thrust rocket to date, was undergoing a power system test that generated a total thrust of 820 tons. This surprising turn of events highlights both the risks and advancements in China's burgeoning space sector, where even unexpected challenges push the boundaries of technological progress. In the race to the stars, China's space technology is making impressive strides. The Tongsan rocket, engineered to rival SpaceX's Falcon 9, boasts a formidable sea-level thrust of approximately 771 tons. However, recent tests suggest that Chinese innovation might be edging past such formidable competitors. According to the Chinese media outlet Guina, the Tongsan not only excels in power, but is also designed to deploy multiple satellites in a single mission. Space Pioneer, the company behind the Tongsan, is just one of 4 Chinese firms advancing the technology of reusable liquid rockets. Over recent years, these trailblazers have completed their initial flights and extensive engine tests, marking significant progress in their development. But China's technological advances aren't confined to the cosmos. On the ground, Chinese inventiveness continues to surge forward. A report by the German Association of Research-Based Pharmaceutical Companies highlighted a remarkable achievement. As of June 28, China now leads the world in patent applications. Contributing nearly half of all patents filed in 2022, China has played a pivotal role in the dramatic rise from 635,000 global patents in 1980 to a staggering 3.4 million in 2022. This more than 5-fold increase in the past 4 decades underscores China's expanding influence in global innovation. Melson, the author of a pivotal report on China's scientific trajectory, highlights the unprecedented scale of China's advancements in science and innovation since the millennium turned. This growth is mirrored in the explosive increase in university enrollments from 7 million in 2000 to over 35 million today, particularly noticeable in the pharmaceutical and biotechnology sectors, where China now rivals the United States in patent filings. Interestingly, when comparing the cost of innovation, China achieves a significant milestone. It boasts the lowest average expenditure per patent globally. Meanwhile, the costs in the EU and the U.S. continue to climb, reflecting the increasingly expensive landscape of innovation in these regions. However, the narrative takes a complex turn in the political arena. U.S. President Joe Biden has expressed concerns over the economic implications of competitively priced and high-performing Chinese technologies, particularly in the crane industry. In a move that has stirred considerable controversy, the White House, as of midday, announced new tariffs on about $18 billion worth of Chinese products, including port cranes, which previously enjoyed a tariff-free status. These are now subjected to a 25% tariff rate starting from July 1. This policy shift has met with substantial resistance from U.S. port entrepreneurs. Carl Davis, president of the American Association of Port Authorities, voiced a strong opposition, arguing that the tariffs on Chinese cranes would not only undermine port efficiency and capacity, but also exacerbate existing tensions in supply chains, ultimately inflating consumer costs. This scenario underscores the intricate interplay of innovation, economics, and international politics in shaping global trade dynamics. The recent tariff increases imposed by the U.S. have sparked significant concern regarding the economic impact, particularly within the logistics and port industries. According to a letter from industry leaders, 7U.S. ports have already committed to purchasing at least 35 cranes from China at an average price of $15 million each. With the new tariffs, this would mean an additional $131 million in costs for U.S. port operators. Such financial strain could potentially derail expansion plans or force ports to scale back operations significantly. Melvin, the CEO of the South Carolina port, emphasized that these added costs jeopardize their competitive edge against ports in Mexico and Canada. He predicts that this will result in longer waiting times for container ships, as well as increased loading and unloading times, which could ripple throughout supply chains. While President Biden has advocated for the U.S. to develop and produce its own harbor cranes to diminish reliance on foreign equipment, the feasibility of this solution remains doubtful. Anderson, a former federal maritime commissioner, pointed out that a fully U.S.-made crane is unlikely to be available in the near future. Furthermore, many parts and components used by European manufacturers are sourced from China and Russia, indicating that the production of a wholly domestic crane could face significant hurdles. Despite these challenges, President Biden's stance remains firm. The new tariffs will apply not only to finished products, but also to parts imported for manufacturing, complicating the situation further. In response to these policies, the Chinese Foreign Ministry has begun addressing the ramifications for international trade relations and the global supply chain. Spokesperson Ming criticized the U.S. approach to international trade and security, pointing out that expanding the definition of national security to justify the abuse of state power and suppression of Chinese companies only increases risks to the global supply chain and ultimately harms the U.S. itself. Meanwhile, in the world of automotive manufacturing, the century-old French carmaker Renault is taking a notably different approach than U.S. port companies, which are still grappling with the repercussions of President Biden's trade policies. As the European Union introduced new tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles on July 2, Renault announced a strategic partnership with CATL, one of China's largest EV battery producers and a key supplier for numerous global brands. This partnership is set to boost Renault's production capabilities significantly, with plans to incorporate CATL's batteries into 590,000 French electric cars. These vehicles are expected to be a common sight on European streets, underscoring Renault's commitment to electric mobility. On the eve of this year's Shanghai Auto Expo, Renault Group CEO Luca De Meo emphasized the critical importance of collaborating with Chinese firms. He stated that Renault could not afford to miss out on the opportunity to engage with a robust ecosystem that includes some of the most significant players in the global automotive industry. At a recent unveiling, it was clear that Renault's new superfactory boasts top-notch engineering and sophisticated raw material refining capabilities. However, these advancements come amid the EU's decision to increase tariffs on Chinese EVs, impacting Renault's Chinese partner, CATL, with a 21% tariff hike. This poses a significant challenge for Renault, which relies heavily on exports to sustain its market share in Europe. Amid these tensions, Renault Group CEO Luca De Meo voiced a strong opinion against severing trade ties with China, which he described as the worst possible response. He argued that while Europe aims to protect its own market, it must also continue to embrace and learn from China's leading edge in the EV industry. De Meo emphasized that the desire to maintain strong connections with China extends beyond business leaders to other influential figures, such as Pope Francis. In a notable move, on June 12, Pope Francis officially recognized Yang Yang as the new bishop of the diocese in China's Jian province. The ordination ceremony took place on June 27, symbolizing a successful collaboration between China and the Vatican. This partnership stems from a provisional agreement signed in 2018, which grants the Chinese government the right to appoint bishops in consultation with the Vatican. Initially temporary, this agreement has been renewed in 2020 and again in 2022, marking a significant evolution in international religious relations. This year marks the centennial of the First Chinese Bishops' Conference, which convened in Shanghai a century ago. Reflecting on this milestone during a weekly audience in St. Peter's Square on June 19th, Pope Francis expressed his deep connection to the Chinese people, urging the world to pray for this noble and very courageous people with such a beautiful culture. As the Vatican and China celebrate the renewal of their provisional agreement, which has facilitated the joint appointment of 6 bishops this year alone, the collaboration appears to strengthen the spread of the gospel in China. However, not everyone views this partnership positively. In 2020, the United States, which inscribes "In God We Trust" on its currency, showed its disapproval when former President Donald Trump sent Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to the Vatican in an attempt to dissuade it from continuing its agreement with China. Despite geopolitical tensions, religious life in mainland China thrives with 2,500 churches, 3,500 mosques, and 3,300 Buddhist temples, all of which receive significant respect from local councils. In a striking contrast, Taiwan's military strategy involves commandeering temples to store munitions, ensuring these sites are never targeted in potential conflicts with mainland China. This was revealed by Taiwan's United Daily News on June 17th, highlighting at least 3 temples involved in these military preparations. Recent documents obtained by several Taiwanese media outlets have sparked controversy, revealing plans by the Taiwan military to use temples as ammunition storage sites in the event of a conflict. These documents, stamped with the seal of a Taiwan Army colonel named Shu, indicate that not only temples, but also some residential buildings have been earmarked for this purpose. This strategy, reportedly implemented over many years, aims to preserve Taiwan's combat capabilities by leveraging the assumption that the People's Liberation Army of mainland China would refrain from targeting religious and civilian areas. However, this approach has raised ethical and strategic concerns, echoing lessons from the Gulf War, where buildings used for military purposes became legitimate targets. The choice to exclusively use Buddhist temples for this purpose, excluding churches and mosques, has ignited further debate and criticism within the Chinese community. Questions about potential religious discrimination by the Taiwan military have circulated widely, yet as of now, there has been no satisfactory response from Taiwan's military officials. Welcome to Blessovia Science TV, where we take you on an exhilarating journey through the cosmos and unravel the mysteries of science. We are excited to offer you the opportunity to become a valued member of our ever-growing community of cosmic enthusiasts and knowledge seekers. Exclusive access to cosmic content. As a member of Blessovia Science TV, you will gain exclusive access to a treasure trove of cosmic content, including documentaries, interviews with leading scientists, space missions updates, and awe-inspiring visualizations of the universe, live Q, and sessions with experts. Your membership will grant you the chance to participate in live Q and sessions with renowned scientists, astronomers, and space explorers. Get your burning questions answered by those who push the boundaries of human knowledge. Embark on a journey that spans the cosmos and join us in unraveling the secrets of the universe. Become a Blessovia Science TV member today, and together we will reach for the stars. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, and share. Don't forget to leave your comment.